gentlemen, welcome to episode 1 of Banter Lab's brand new pop culture podcast, Culture Yourself, your number one place to go and get some culture up inside you. I'm your host for this week, Sam Nicholson, joined alongside by Ben Storia. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty well, but I'm not putting anything inside anyone.
You wanted our first topic of this show to be things you put in your mouth.
No! That's different. That's a personal thing, and I didn't want it talked about.
Just want to talk about personal fetishes. But, so this is replacing our old podcast, The Casual Cast, which was not always pop culture focused, very topical. This show is going to be super formatted. We're going to do lots of bits and skits and stuff like that. It's pop culture with a bit of a comedic spin. So, yeah, we're very excited to do it. We were meant to launch, 2 or 3 weeks ago with the first episode, and we did record it. But
it was brilliant.
I had either a collapsed lung or a gallbladder stone or something that the doctor still doesn't know what it is. But I was in immense pain, and every time I laughed, I was nearly in tears, so that was pretty shit.
It was really sadistic. It was really sadistic making him laugh.
Ben was just sitting there intentionally saying shitty jokes to get me to laugh, and all the footage is just me sitting back in my chair writhing in pain. You'll see it one day. We do plan to release it. I kept the footage. I'll probably cut it up into a small little video. But this is episode 1 now, a whole 2 weeks late in typical Banter Lab fashion.
Yeah, sure, why not? It seems like the right kind of thing. I didn't realize that was going to be a question towards me. But yeah, no, like you were saying, I hope that this does have some kind of feel that it does stay relatively pop culture related or something along the lines, because we're not really sure what the Casual Cast was. We sat back and we asked ourselves, if you could put the Casual Cast into category or one kind of theme, what would it be? And none of us could do it. We're thinking maybe trash truck on fire, something like that, the classic cliche, but
it's okay, we have people on sometimes and we talk about some things.
But none of it correlates.
And no one listens to it. So we decided to make this podcast way more focused, so that way people know what they're getting every time they listen to an episode. And we will cover the news and stuff like that, all the pop culture news and that a little bit, but that's not what this show's about. It's more like taking all the current pop culture things that people are talking about and spinning it into something interesting. So maybe we might play
candy from a baby.
Yeah, like taking candy from a baby. That's going to be a fun thing to talk about. So we might play, for example, a game of a kind of D&D scenario where someone's come up with a scenario to put another person in as a character involved in what we were just talking about. So we might have just been talking about Death Stranding, for example. So I put Ben in the game and
as an example of our last thing that never comes to fruition.
Yeah, that's right. That's what we did last week, and it turned out really well when I wasn't in tears. But yeah, so
also going to be playing lots of games of Spin the Bottle as well. That's going to be a lot of fun. You can tune in every 3rd week we're going to be playing Spin the Bottle.
But it's just Ben and I, and we just put our lips up to the webcams. But whether you're listening to this in audio or YouTube or Twitch, Spotify, whatever service you're on, definitely make sure to follow this, because we're going to be posting weekly, each and every single Thursday in video and audio form for your pleasure. On Twitch, it's not going to be a live show. It's just going to be a premiered video format that we'll be in the chat talking to you guys about as we go. But really excited to dive into this one. And what we want to talk about this week, just to start off with, we've both seen The Incredibles 2. So we decided that would start to talk about Pixar and The Incredibles 2. But first off, Ben, what are your thoughts on the movie?
Oh boy, where do I start? Incredibles 2 is, wait for it, it's incredible. It is a movie that I think anyone who is a fan of Pixar or the first movie has to go see, regardless of any bad reviews you've heard from anyone, because I think that no matter what, you can come out of that movie thinking, holy shit, they have done well. They've smashed this movie out.
Yeah, 100%. I thought they really hit every kind of bar that they tried to hit. I wouldn't say they jumped the bar of the first movie, but I think they met it. I think it's just as good. You can make a case that it's worse, because beat for beat, it's super similar, but I absolutely loved it. I love growing up with these Pixar movies where it's something that you watched as a child, but now you get to enjoy it as an adult and understand. When you're a kid, they make all those adult jokes and stuff that you're not going to get when you're a kid. But I like being able to watch Pixar movies from, the other side now. Although I do wish I was still a kid, and I'm still in my ever fruitless endeavor to find the fountain of youth. But
I think that's something they did so well in this movie, is the fact that you can come into it as a kid and probably enjoy it just as much as we did in more adult terms. They still pepper it with these adult themes, and the whole situation between Bob and Helen in this movie, for an example, and the whole changing of dynamic, works in an incredible way that we can kind of understand. But I think that around that situation, so many funny things that kids can enjoy happens. And I think that's probably the main thing that they did well for me, was they made it feel like the first movie, in the sense that all audiences are going to be able to take something away from this.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone has something to take away, whether you're a kid or an adult or somewhere in the middle. Like, I'm sure there are even, I definitely went through this phase where you're like a teenager where you think you're too cool for Pixar movies. Like, you're sitting there at 14 years old. What? Even those guys are going to secretly love this movie like I did with Toy Story 3.
What are you?
A human?
Admitting that on life? Didn't know this side of you, man. I thought that you liked them the whole way through. This changes everything.
Oh, I always liked them halfway through, but when at least some kids are in that phase, like, I'm too cool for the Pixar movies. So,
not really, but sure, yeah.
All right. Oh, you're a wholesome person right through.
Yeah, see, like I was wholesome, but I also got to use the facade of taking my younger sister to see them on like day one. I never actually said that I was like against them, but I was always like, yeah, I'm taking Kiara to go see this movie. It was never, hey, I'm using Kiara so I could go to the movies. Mom, Dad, I'm going to take Kiara to the movies. Do you mind if you pay for my movie ticket for me to go see it? I mean, take her to the movies. I just want to have some bonding time with my younger sister.
I don't really want to watch it, I swear, but I'm just doing it for my sister. But
a key example of that is one day we went to the movies, and I remember I dragged her into a double. There was Moana on, and then Sing after that. And I remember walking out of Moana, and I think she was kind of like, she wasn't not keen for it, but she was kind of thinking like, oh my god, we have to sit through another movie. And I'm just like, movie.
Disney! But like, I love Moana. Moana's a great movie. But I don't know, I was kind of disappointed with The Incredibles 2, though, that they didn't have Bon Voyage in it, because I love his really shitty, thick French accent. Mr. Incredible! It's like,
that would be such pandering. Mr. Incredible!
It's so good. I just love those movies, and especially the aesthetic of them, how they're like set in the 50s and 60s with all the modern technology. Like, that art style is really, really juicy and engaging.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. Should we say anything that's relatively spoilerish?
Nah, I'd probably like to keep it spoiler free. I think like the movie's still pretty fresh.
Do you reckon I'm talking about the Underminer is going to be spoiling?
No, everyone knows he's in there. I'm sure he's in the trailer. Like,
yeah, no, I'm just making sure. But how do you think he came off? Were you happy with how they used the Underminer when he started up? I thought it was really cool with that like wide shot looking down from like someone else's perspective as he's like saying the line from the end of the movie that we all know and love.
I definitely didn't see that coming. It was picking some obscure character from the first movie that had like 2 lines to make him the focus of the intro to the movie. It was really cool. I liked it. The Underminer, I mean, he's kind of underused. He's kind of undermined in the movie.
He was never caught either. He got away. He's still out there.
If they do a third one, maybe he'll be the focus. But yeah, like, we've spent, 10 years waiting to see... Oh, over 10 years. Waiting to see how they take down the Underminer and what's going to happen, and he was hardly in it. Although I did like his lines, like, I am above nothing and nothing is beneath me. Yeah, that was all pretty good. Oh, but yeah, I really like that they just picked up that movie, like, the same day as the first one ended. Like, everyone wanted to know what happened then instead of... Because I'm pretty sure they made some shitty spin-off video game no one played, and that was what happened with the Underminer, but then obviously they've retconned that. But
yeah, well, I think it was always after the... Okay, so after they released like the first one, the cult classic around, everyone just deciding like, what happens when the Underminer comes and shit, and everyone started screaming about that, because I don't think they ever intended there to really be a 2. Like, that was kind of open-ended wrapping up where it was like set to finish there.
Yeah.
But probably on top of the fact that everyone just started to like freak out about the Underminer, like, all right, we need to kind of like wrap this up or people are going to be pissed.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, okay, let's take 18 years to do it, or however long it is. I think it came out in 2004, so 14 years. Jesus Christ. I've been sitting on the edge of my seat ever since then. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed The Incredibles 2. Great movie, but like, that movie itself isn't really the focus of what we wanted to talk about today. What we really wanted to go over was the Pixar theory, and maybe make a little Pixar theory of our own with totally unrelated movies and somehow join them up.
Oh boy, this is going to be awful. This is going to be so bad. I mean,
it's going to be a shit show, and that's what you're in for every episode of this podcast. But like, it kind of does sum up what this podcast is going to be. We're going to cover something relevant for the time and talk about it a little seriously and in depth. And then just spin it off into something unrelated, but still pop culture, I guess. Like, something fun to do, you know? Alrighty. But, Ben, are you familiar with the Pixar theory at all?
Look, I am, but I think for the sake of anyone who isn't, you should tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So what it is, some lonely person somewhere has figured out that there's a link between every Pixar movie and that
Whoa. You're saying this man who spent all this time doing this...
Could be a woman.
Was lonely? or this man or woman.
No, if
Someone
they were
who did something
lonely,
like
you
this
can
had a
tell when they
plethora of
became
friends and a bustling social life.
If they were lonely without a social life, you can tell what period in time they became not lonely and got a social life, because this theory abruptly ends at a certain point and they didn't cover the rest of the Pixar movies. But we'll get into
I don't agree with you, but I respect your view. Carry on.
Yeah. But no, full credit to the person who made this. It is
credit to the
intriguing
boys.
as much as it is a stretch. I'll learn English one day, guys. But yeah, it kicks off with Brave, which apparently is set in the 14th to 15th century.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, where does it kick off in your version of the Pixar theory, Ben?
It kicks off with the good dinosaur.
Oh, well, the version I'm the version that came out first on www.pixartheory.com.
When was that updated?
2013. When,
Yeah,
when the theory came out. These are the guys who broke the theory.
Yeah, so this one's updated.
But it's not on pixartheory.com, so it can't be the cold hard facts, Ben.
You tell me Wikipedia was wrong?
Wikipedia is nothing but reliable.
I don't believe you.
Did you ever go through that phase in primary school where everyone, when you're in the computer lab, you just go on Wikipedia and update like some random shit and say something about one of your mates, and everyone would get around and giggle about it and think you were the funniest person ever?
Oh yeah, I remember there was like, for some reason, out of everyone, you know, Fred Hollows, how he does all the eye care to like, yeah. I remember distinctly that every single time we went in to do some like research on this guy, because it was one of our topics, someone in the world has updated it to say that Fred Hollows is a fucking idiot every single time. And we had to like report it and change it. So when it get changed, we'd come back a couple of weeks later and it would be changed back to Fred Hollows is a fucking idiot.
And it wasn't one of you guys.
Slander. No, it wasn't any of us. Like, it was just, we were, what, year 4? We were too young to think of anything that witty.
It was probably my school, because we were the types of kids to be sitting in there changing. I don't know if we would have said a fucking idiot, because it was a Christian school.
Yes, that was mine, see? So we're just too wholehearted and good and pure.
Yeah, you guys were wholesome, and we're sitting here going, oh, my mate Trent likes butt. Like...
See, yeah, that was but it was nothing like the slander on this man who did, like, you know, pretty great work.
Yeah, poor Fred. Oh, you can't slander that man's name. He'd be rolling over in his grave. But, like rolling over in their grave, I'm sure Merida from Brave is at the moment. Shit segue. After what happens in this Pixar universe, Ben. Because it all starts in the 15th century with Merida discovering the will of the wisps. The magic turns her mother into a bear. This magic is why animals and inanimate objects, such as brooms and tools, behave like humans. Magic was utilized by a witch who mysteriously vanishes through the wooden doors. Eventually, the magic from the will of the wisps would lead to the birth of superheroes. And then, apparently nothing happens from the 14th to 15th century, because we jump all the way to 1950. From there, with The Incredibles, which is next in chronological order, where superheroes are maintaining the world. And one of them is an insurance man named Bob, who hates his fucking job. But yeah, Buddy, a wannabe superhero, created two things for the demise of superpowered humans. Self-serving AI, which is his big old robot thing. And 0-point energy, which is electromagnetic energy that exists in a vacuum. And how this person fucking knows that, I don't know. But apparently it's the energy that comes out of his finger when he zaps shit. This is Syndrome. So this is a pivotal moment where we see machines starting to eradicate their only threat, which are supers, which are humans. Eventually, toys start to absorb and draw all that 0-point energy, and that travels in wavelengths and absorbs into all the toys. We're in 1997.
That's the only option. Like, the toys have to absorb it. Like, all this 0-point energy, nothing else could have absorbed it. It's got to be the toys. Like, it makes sense. If you're looking at it from a scientific standpoint, toys, trees, Melissa McCarthy's career. That order.
That's it. You can just imagine Alex Jones coming out with a video. Oh, this 0-point energy is getting absorbed into toys and making the frogs gay. But yeah, so the toys start to show the first signs of life in 1997 due to Syndrome's technological prowess, which happened, fucking 50 years before then. And then they come up with a code of rules and learn that human love is another energy source upon which they thrive. These toys discover what happens when toys are isolated from humans. Like, why toys? all the billionaires and scientists coming out that only toys can absorb it, like photosynthesis. Then we have Toy Story 2, which shows what happens when toys don't get their love from humans. Like when Jessie gets abandoned by Emily, she turns hateful and spiteful towards humans. And resentments toward humans was not only carried by inanimate objects, but by animals as well, for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, fair.
I have to say, though, do you think one of the saddest Pixar scenes is that song that plays when Jessie's recounting when she got abandoned by Emily? That song's so sad.
Oh, God, I can't remember the song.
I'm not going to sing it for you. It was actually Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi.
No. I can only think of a freaking Bolt. Oh.
Holy shit, Bolt's a thing, isn't it?
Bolt is a thing. Come on, give us a line to get me my mind updated, because I genuinely can't remember it.
That I can't remember the lyrics. I just remember like somber piano. But
do the tune for me, piano.
No, I'm not.
Please.
Whoa,
okay.
We're halfway there.
No.
Whoa!
Okay, new rule. We're allowed to play one card per episode where you kind of force the other person's hand into doing something for them.
All right. Is that one of the rules of Culture Yourself? Okay.
I reckon this is a new one.
One card per episode.
That. And so I'm going to use mine to make you do like the bit to make me remember this song.
I can't remember the fucking song.
You have to do something. No. All right, get the lyrics up and sing it to me so you can remind me, because, man.
Right. Lyrics to... Also, if this fucks up Ben's OBS cam, it's not my fault. To Jessie's abandonment.
God, I hope anyone reads your like history.
Jessie the Cowgirl's abandonment? I don't know.
Sure.
Toy Story 2. I just googled Toy Story because my OK's fucked and writes twice. Alrighty. Oh, When She Loved Me. Here we go.
I remember it now because you got to sing it though. I've already used my card, so.
When somebody loved me, everything was beautiful. Every hour we spent together lives within my heart. Holy shit, I don't know how I remember that
and
fucking
when she
tune.
was sad, I was there to dry her tears, baby. Fuck, is that it?
And when she was happy, so was
go.
I. When she loved me. Yeah.
Done. There we go.
Whoa, we're halfway there.
2016 version.
Oh man, but there you go. That was that tune. Sad, somber moments. Oh my god, we're 20 minutes in.
Me.
Alrighty, but yeah, so that's how we found out what happens when somber songs by Randy Newman gets played. The toys turn bitter. And then we have Finding Nemo, where we find that fish are incredibly advanced. They have schools and a network and freeway system. We discover that humans are polluting the earth and experimenting on them. Dory was in fact one of the animals that was experimented on, which is why she is so forgetful. There are signs of resentment growing towards humans for polluting the environment, stealing fish, and caging them. Animals begin to be more curious and carry more humanistic characteristics. Alrighty, such as what? Like, what's humanistic about the fish?
The fact that they have feelings, probably.
I'm sure fish have feelings.
No, they don't.
Okay.
I know for a fact.
You know for a fact you were talking to them, were you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are you like Eliza Thornberry?
No, I'm Ben Thornberry.
That's good.
Yeah.
What a shit bit that was. And then we go into Ratatouille.
What makes this a bit?
I don't know. What makes any bit a bit? But Ratatouille is a big old bit where in the ocean we find that the fish are incredibly advanced. They have schools and network and... Oh, wait. What? Oh! I copied the fucking... I copied the Finding Nemo one for Ratatouille.
A rat who finds himself underwater.
Ratatouille, 2007. In the ocean, we find that fish are incredibly advanced.
Well, imagining the movie comes and fades from black into the movie, and it's him trying to swim to the top of the ocean, but he's like at the bottom of the ocean. There's no way he's going to get up there before he runs down air.
That scene where Remy's floating through the sewer is just like, fuck, I wish I was still a fish.
How did I get here?
In Ratatouille, we find that animals still hate humans and in fact aspire to control them. I'm just remembering this from what I read before now. And that's why Remy's in Linguini's hat pulling his hair to control him, and that's the first sign of animals wanting to dominate humans.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Linguini, that dumb fuck.
Linguini.
Alrighty, then we go into Toy Story 3. What a movie. What a movie, Ben. One of my favourite Pixar movies. But, 3 years after Ratatouille, toys have gone through a lot with humans. If you've seen the movie, you can tell why most of the toys have had it. Being abused physically and emotionally by humans, Lotso the Huggin' Bear straight up hates humans because they use and discard toy objects like they're nothing, almost like they're toys. He starts trying to take care of his own kind. This provides yet another reason why machines and objects are ready to take over. Carl and Ellie, who I was talking this to Ben before. I didn't remember who the fuck that was.
Carl and Ellie? Who the fuck is Carl and Ellie?
They're the couple from Up, who somehow, for whatever strange reason, know Andy and write to him telling him to get rid of his toys because they know the animosity between toys and humans is coming ahead. And that's why they're planning on living in solitude. They know there's a big toy versus human war.
Ellie gave her life for that. Ellie didn't pass away from an illness. Toys attacked.
Yeah, Woody slaughtered her, slit her throat, and cut her into little bits and ate her.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But then we go into Up, which is set anytime from 2011 to 2016. So Up just happened, Ben, 2 years ago. Carl is forced to give up his house to a corporation, which is B&L, because they are expanding the city. This is foreshadowing this corporation is the cause for polluting Earth, blah, blah, blah. Carl discovers that animals can communicate with humans and sees bitterness that they have. Charles Muntz effectively trains an army of dogs. This is the start of the tipping point between animals and humans. Years later, the uprising between animals and humans begins. Who do you think won that war? I like how they end that with a question. It's like...
Now, to you, the viewers and the readers, who won the war?
Now is the time where you reflect upon this rich history. And
it's interesting because, like, one of the main things that drag a lot of these in together is the B&L Corporation. And, like, I don't know if you mentioned in Toy Story 1 that you can see that the batteries in Buzz Lightyear are by B&L as well. So, like, that instantly ties these worlds nearly together as well.
Yeah. What does B&L stand for, Ben? Is it bitches and leprechauns? Oh, by and large. Okay.
Yeah, I ruined that, didn't I?
Yeah. I was teeing you up for something there, and you just...
I'm so sorry, man.
Sent it right back at me.
I'm so sorry.
Great comedy podcast.
I'm so sorry.
We make the good joke. All right, and then we go into Cars. And then we go into Cars, where animals rose up against the humans to stop the pollution. The machines saved the humans and they won the war. However, since machines helped humans win, it tipped the balance on Earth. Machines / by and large had to send the remaining humans off into space on a ship called Axiom. All the other machines were left behind to populate
the fish in the sea.
Fish are apparently incredibly advanced. They have highways. All of the other machines were left behind to populate the world and run things. But how do we know that Cars took over Earth and not another planet? Because... Oh, you go ahead.
Nope. You finish that.
All right. Because in Cars 2, we see that Cars go to Europe and Japan, which shows it's the same planet as all the other Pixar movies. I hate this movie so much. This is definitively the worst Pixar movie. It's
what are you
horrible.
Talking about?
Like, oh, I'm a race car. Now I'm a fucking spy. Like, oh my god. Imagine if James Bond did the reverse. They just did a spin-off movie where he has a day job. Like,
Mater gets to fly, man. Just let it happen.
Where does Planes fit in on this timeline?
Don't worry about it, please.
Did anyone even watch Planes?
No, I can't say even I did.
I haven't seen it, but yeah, like, what do you think James Bond's day job would be if they did do a spin-off movie where it's the reverse?
Whose day job?
James Bond.
Wait, can you please use the question in a sentence?
So, you know how Cars 2 went from everyone having day jobs to being spies?
Yep.
If James Bond did the reverse, what do you think his day job would be?
Probably like a bond worker. You'd be like, welcome to my company. I'm Bond, James Bond. I sell bonds.
I sell bonds. James
I also work for the Bond Corporation. James, get back to work. You're not a spy anymore. How would you like your bond? Second or third? James, please, this is your last warning.
Oh, poor James.
James Bond is sad.
I've got the license to sell. Alrighty. But,
That's the only option.
huh?
That's the only option there.
Yeah, alrighty. But, yeah, all in all, corporation was seeing using green energy as a catalyst for a fuel war in order to turn cars away from alternative energy sources. That clean fuel would have been used to swiftly wipe out, decommission many of the cars. All in all was run by B&L, which eventually polluted the whole Earth due to its use of oil. The whole world becomes unfit to sustain life, and Lightning McQueen dies. How somber is that, Ben?
Lightning Queen doesn't die.
Wow.
Oh, wait, where does Lightning McQueen dies come in?
Well, it said that the world was unfit to sustain life. The cars are clearly alive. They're sentient.
Have you seen that theory about how that they reckon the cars are like biomechanical creatures? How like they have a giant brain on the inside of their hood and like organs and things? Have you seen that whole theory?
That's messed up.
It's crazy, and they like go through and like obviously there's parts that make sense, but some of it's just like wacky. It's really wacky. But it would like kind of tie into this whole thing that it's like developed into machines and shit. I guess
they need to reproduce somehow. I mean, and it is fact that people can be attracted to cars. Have you seen that H3H3 video of the guy who's in love with his car?
No, I've only seen that at my like browser history.
And all the car loving groups that you're in, where they're all about fucking it up the exhaust.
Oh yeah, and Pornhub.
And Pornhub, yeah, good stuff. Good old automotive fucking. But
automotive erotic.
Then we go into WALL-E, which is set in the 2800s. Earth has become uninhabitable for hundreds of years due to B&L. The corporation took over the world and government starting in the 1950s. WALL-E is the only machine left on Earth after it ran out of resources. He survived because he was fascinated with human culture and his friendship with a cockroach. During the credits of WALL-E, we see the shoe that contains the last plant of life as it grows into a mighty tree. Oh, and also, I just skipped over a lot, but apparently, WALL-E is a robot Jesus. WALL-E is a robot Jesus. And he and his love, the appropriately named Eve, save the human race.
Jesus and Eve come together to save humans.
How can you write that sentence seriously? WALL-E is a robot Jesus.
This guy was like, I've cracked it. I've got the codes, and I'm gonna bust this wide open.
He's taking this theory so seriously. You had to make it biblical.
It's insane.
Oh my god.
Well,
okay.
I can kind of relate to Wally, the fact that I get through like my gaming and things like that, being friends with a cockroach. So like, obviously, you're my cockroach, Sam. Like that's the only way that I get through with my fascination of human culture.
Aw, I'm your cockroach that you're best friends with, and that I'm your entire life until some hot bird comes about, and then you're just distracted by her, and I'm left alone for the rest of my life. Yeah, you find love, and I'm just abandoned to the waste of Earth.
Don't I run you over like multiple times in this movie?
Yeah, but I forgive you anyway, because you're all I've got.
You're also a cockroach. I mean, you don't have much going for you.
Oh, man. And then we go into A Bug's Life, which is set in 2898 to 3000. Oh my god, I'm getting a phone call. Where were we? A Bug's Life. Yes. Set in 2898 to 3000. The same plant that we see in WALL-E began to grow into the tree in A Bug's Life. Oh, that's a stretch.
Naturally.
Yeah, naturally. There's a lot of trees in that movie, but that's the one. Insects have a longer lifespan. In A Bug's Life, prior to WALL-E, an ant can last just 3 months. However, in A Bug's Life, these ants survive an entire summer and allude to being around for quite some time. One ant states that he feels 90 again. This indicates that ants are sturdier as a result of evolution and mutated genes. Another ant tells Flick not to leave the island because there are snakes, birds, and bigger bugs out there. Yeah, right. Later in the distant future, animals start evolving into the dominant species. And do you know what that species they become, Ben? This isn't a stretch at all. Ants become what?
What do ants become? Like, I'm thinking like Pokemon evolution.
They become Paul Rudd.
They become Ant-Man?
Yep.
Sure, we'll go with that.
This is how we tie it into the MCU. Alrighty. But no, Ben, ants turn into monsters naturally.
Yeah, no, I thought so.
And that's where we get Monsters University. Hundreds of years after Wall-E, blah, 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 blah. It takes place 1,400 years after a bug's life. In Monsters University, they falsely taught monsters that humans were toxic and from another dimension. This was because monsters were worried about being erased from existence and altering history. Monsters, Inc. comes after that, in 4,500 to 5,000. Monsters and Machines didn't realize their mistake of getting rid of humans until it was too late. They eventually realized that humans were their source of energy and needed to sustain life. Machines helped solve this by letting monsters use the door to time travel to the human generations. This leads us to Boo. And that's as much as we had on the Pixar theory.
I fucking hate the Boo part of this.
What's the Boo part of it?
So the idea is that Boo is the witch from Brave.
Oh, fuck off!
The reason let's finish. The reason that she can get there is because she misses Boo so much, and she finds, or like she knows that there's a way eventually by using the doors to get to him. And so she finds that there's time traveling capabilities, so she can like time travel away. And so when she uses the door in the movie, that's how she gets away. Like that's how she time travels. And so they reckon that Boo, who has the magic, is the reason there's magic in the original part of Brave, which leads to everything else. But it all comes back around to Boo, who's from the future. But, like, to be fair, if you look in her cabin in Brave, there are carvings of Sully and, like, the pizza truck and stuff from, like, the Pixar films in her cabin.
Yeah, I've seen that, yeah.
So, yeah, like, I mean, it makes sense to try and draw that comparison. Like, the Doors thing makes sense, but it's fucking absurd. Boo is the reason all of the MCU. What are we going to call this? The Pixar universe.
The PU.
PCU. The PU. It stinks. Stinks.
Like, just like this whole theory does. Like, you can see how they've drawn some of the connections here, but yeah, look, I don't know if I'm a fan, but yeah, Boo being the center of this whole universe is a bit of a stretch. She's the key to beating Thanos. Just get Boo in some fucking doors and make sure this whole thing doesn't happen. Abort Thanos when he's a kid. Go through the Thanos door.
The Thanos door. Big purple looking door.
Yeah, that's it. And that, I mean, this isn't a stretch at all, Ben. Disney owns Marvel. Disney owns Pixar. Here we go. They got all the Pixar guys. They're gonna beat Thanos. Lightning McQueen will run him over.
That's the only way.
Ka-chow, Thanos.
Ka-chow. The supers come in. There's lots of toys, some fish out of water.
Nemo and fucking all the other fish are just flopping on the ground slowly. Suffocating.
Fish are advanced and they've got highways. They got to use their uniform use of the sea highways to beat Thanos. Gonna make a current so strong.
The Avengers 4 title comes out, and then the synopsis is like, fish are so advanced and they have schools and highways.
Schools of highways? That's even more impressive. Welcome to Highway School, where we teach you everything you need to know to keep our flourishing highways going.
But the true villain will be the rat from Ratatouille. He'll jump on Thanos, grab his few little hair follicles that you can see on his hair in Avengers, and start steering Thanos around and just be beating everyone.
I think the real enemy is going to be the rat from Basil the Mouse Detective, because he likes to think that he's a mouse, but is really a rat. You haven't seen Basil the Mouse Detective?
No, I haven't. I've seen Basil Brush.
Boom, boom.
These are some deep cuts
He's
here.
the hero that we need.
No one's going to know what we're talking about.
Thanos, you're going down because you're dumb. Boom, boom. I forgot Basil Brush existed.
Thanos is like, it's true, I am.
And then he just goes,
Makes him just melts into a giant purple puddle.
And then he says something really, really fucking dumb, Basil Brush, like, this man. I can't.
Black Panther and Basil Brush shake hands, and it's like, racism abolished.
And then he says, I guess he was in a bit of a sticky situation. Boom, boom. It's like, it's so bad.
How did we end up getting to Basil Brush being the key for
this.
Infinity War?
It wasn't even me this time.
So what ended up happening was we had a few technical difficulties and lost the second half of the show, where we went into immense detail about how Basil Brush beat Thanos and stuff like that. But none of that can actually be seen, so the next day we recorded the second half, where we did something a little bit different. Ben, after all that chat about Basil Brush and whatnot and all the Pixar stuff, I figured that for this part of the show, we could probably make our own little Pixar theory using a bunch of random movies. So what I've done is I've got us a random movie generator, which brings us up 4 movies. Any random 4 movies, hopefully we've seen all of them. And then after that, we can add any other movies that we might want to and stuff like that, any other characters and things, and try and come up with our own Pixar theory that either might be more absurd than the one that we just did, or even more realistic.
So, what are we going to call it? Because I'm thinking we should be going with, like, the Banterfield theory.
The Banterfield theory, huh?
Yep.
Where'd you get the field part from?
Cloverfield, I don't know. It's a bit of a weird series, a bit of a weird world, so I just put Birds Lab and Cloverfield together, smush them right up in there, and you get Banterfield.
Alright, I'll cop it. I mean, who knows, maybe even Cloverfield will be part of it. Alrighty, so to do our first random movie generator, we'll run it. What have we got? I haven't seen all these movies, but we've got...
If you haven't seen all of them, go again.
Although one of them is super relevant to what we're talking about. We have Toy Story.
No, we're not...
All
if
right.
there's a Pixar movie, we have to not do that.
All right, okay. So we don't want to tie it into the Pixar.
No.
All right. Yeah, I could run with this one. We've got Jurassic World, Big Hero 6, Avatar, and Ant-Man and the Wasp, which will just make Ant-Man. Because Ant-Man and the Wasp isn't even out yet, I'm pretty sure.
What is this generator?
What do you mean?
I was just hoping for some, like, more obscure movie or something a bit more, like, left field, but it's like, here are 4 major big blockbuster movies that everyone's seen always.
Yeah, the last one had The Commuter with Liam Neeson.
Oh, no, what have I done?
Oh, we can run it again then. All right. What the fuck is that? All right, this one we've got Avatar, Aaj Ki Soch, which I think is a Bollywood movie.
Oh no.
Ted 2 and Inglourious Bastards.
My wish came to fruition, but I didn't want it to happen like this.
I'm gonna look up what Aaj Ki Soch is.
It sounds like something in a metal song that they'd scream in the middle of it. When someone's like doing a crazy riff, it's like Aaj Ki Soch. Can you hear that?
Alright. So I'm bringing it up on Wikipedia now. Aaj Ki Soch is a 1988 Hindi language movie directed by Dada Kondeki, starring Shakti Kapoor, Dada Kondak. I'm definitely butchering these names, sorry. Swapna Razamarad and Satish Shah. It only says the cast and not what the movie is about whatsoever.
Can we not do this one?
And it also has the soundtrack to it.
Okay. We'll put the soundtrack link in the description so you guys can go and have a listen.
Alright, you want to do a different one?
I think so. I'm picky, aren't I?
We've got Chappie, Deadpool, Whiplash, and Jurassic World.
Done. I can work with that.
Alright, you can work with that. I've never seen Chappie, but I know what it is.
I am human. I am Chappie.
So you've seen Chappie?
I've seen Chappie. It's a movie.
Yeah, it looks
definitely a movie.
It looks a bit how you going. Alrighty, so if you want to do that one. How are we kicking this theory off, Ben? What is the origins of this universe?
Okay, look, I'm going to have to get you to say this again, so I'm going to write it down because I'm going to try and keep a bit of a thought train of where we're going with this because I will get lost 100% otherwise.
Okay, so we have Chappie.
Yep.
Deadpool. Whiplash.
Yep.
And Jurassic World.
Ooh, yes, aha. Oh, I'm going to watch Whiplash again at some stage soon because that's a good movie.
Whiplash is a phenomenal movie.
Okay. How do we tie these in together? So we're Jurassic World, Chappie, Deadpool. All right, so I guess that immediately what we can do is we can start to draw the comparisons in Jurassic World and Chappie because we're in the future. You can see that there's like kind of more sophisticated technology and like AI is being developed as in the Chappie movie and like dinosaurs are being brought back to life. My theory is that what's happened is the Chappie movie is set later after Jurassic World, right? where the fucking Jesus, my blank. Jurassic World, where oh my god, I'm gonna get this. Set later in the world of Jurassic World, when Chris Pratt has failed and the dinosaurs have actually kind of started to take over, and they're marching forward much like an army, and they're on the front lines fighting. And so what we're trying to do is to try to develop AI because, oh god, it's too early. I'm mind blanking on these names. Hugh Jackman, that's it. On the front lines because Hugh Jackman and he wants to have like the military fighting on the front line, but we need robots out there because the human technology just can't keep up. And so they're developing AI in Chappie, but obviously it goes a bit wrong with Chappie there, and it goes into the caring and the upbringing. Wants him to be more a student than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that you brought Hugh Jackman into it, because what character has an obsession with Hugh Jackman?
Done.
Deadpool. As we see in the back end of Deadpool, the first one, when he staples Hugh Jackman's face to his face, he clearly has an obsession with Hugh Jackman. And the reason for that is because Hugh Jackman was pioneering that AI army to take down all the dinosaurs. And he's like a world treasure. He's a world-renowned treasure, but all the AI and stuff that Hugh Jackman developed started to get into modern society, started to cure diseases and stuff like that. They're like, hey, all these nanobots and that we have, we can put into people and rid the world of, like, shitty diseases and stuff. And that's how we get mutants in the Deadpool world. So, good old, fucking Professor X's actor, how am I forgetting his fucking name? Patrick Stewart. Yeah, good old Patrick Stewart. He has, like, nanobots and stuff in him, and he's like, hey, now that we have all these mutants because of these nanobot side effects, we can hopefully also help take down the dinosaurs. What was the other movie we had? Whiplash. How do we tie J.K. Simmons into this? J.K. Simmons, previously from Spider-Man fame, is still J. Jonah Jameson.
Yep.
And Spider-Man was also one of those mutants and stuff, and he'd gotten over his career of slandering Spider-Man and getting pictures of Spider-Man and whatnot, because as seen in the deleted scene from Spider-Man 2, when he gets Spider-Man's suit and he tries it on, he actually loves Spider-Man. He's always wanted to be like him. But because he spent his whole career slandering him, now that he feels guilty about it, he's gone underground, he's gotten rid of the Daily Bugle, and now what's he doing, Ben? He's teaching kids how to drum.
And that just so happens that this is where he discovered, who did he play? Miles Teller, who was playing as Mr. Fantastic in the Fantastic Four movie. And so they needed to recruit the Fantastic Four, and that's why he's actually teaching Miles. Because he's like, man, these dinosaurs are running rampant. We need to get some more super people out there on the front line, and we're going to bring you in here somehow across dimensions or whatnot. And you're going to come fight for us, Mr. Fantastic. And Miles Teller's just like, no, man, I can't do it. I've just passed my drumming degree, and I'm just going to go have this big party. I think I'm going to call it like Project X.
Oh, fuck you. I was going to type Project X in.
But you see, he thought, oh, god damn. Oh, shit. J.K. Simmons thought Project X was something else. It tied into something different. What was that, though, Sam?
Well, J.K. Simmons was sitting there thinking, Project X, that's probably the next Chappie. See, Chappie failed. He couldn't quite pull everything off, but he thought Miles as Mr. Fantastic, instead of having a big old party with underage kids full of ecstasy, he thought he was working on Chappie 2, and that's what Project X was. But no, turns out Miles Teller's just around, taking eckies and burning down an entire town. But, what actually started that town burning down, though, Ben, as not shown in Project X, it was a tiny little dinosaur that got into the pilot light, set himself on fire, and then started running around rampant in the basement of the Project X house and set that little village on fire. And then once the news caught onto this, they're like, dinosaurs are still getting around.
We need to cover this up.
Yeah, we really need to clean this up. And, there's only one man for the job, and his name is Ryan Reynolds. So that's where Deadpool comes in, Ben, because we really haven't touched on Deadpool.
We pulled it into that universe, and then we dropped back out of it real quickly. But yeah, it always comes full circle with these four obviously same universe movies where everything's happening at the same time in the same world.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
And I don't know if you're familiar, Ben, but there's a Deadpool comic in which he goes back in time and takes on dinosaurs. He fights dinosaurs. That is a thing.
Oh,
So
oh,
that's where this comic comes into play. That's where this arc starts. Him and J.K. Simmons team up with Hugh Jackman being the guy in the chair guiding them around to obliterate all these dinosaurs. But they run into a bit of a problem, Ben, and that problem is Chappie, because he has the ability to communicate with animals, sees the dinosaur's point of view. So Chappie, after talking with the dinosaurs, realized that humans do need to be eradicated. Because if there are scumbags like Miles Teller, who has the ability to be Mr. Fantastic and save the world, but he decides to have a party with underage kids instead because he passed his Whiplash drum exam, then the human race probably has no hope as it is anyway.
and especially from one of the smartest men in the universe, like, or one of the smartest men in the universe.
Yeah.
He should know better than this, really. And
Yeah,
so, I mean, it's only natural.
He didn't even call his fucking mates, the rest of the Fantastic Four, to come and help.
Well, you see, that's because there's been actually a bit of turmoil in the Fantastic Four ranks, because there's been deliberation by the government if the Thing is actually a dinosaur or not. And even though obviously he's like, look, I'm not a dinosaur, leave me alone, they're just like, rah, 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 shut up, dinosaur. We know who you are. And so that's why obviously the Fantastic Four aren't together in these movies, because Miles Teller as Mr. Fantastic has moved on and things have gotten a bit weird. So I think during all this, he's actually coping for the fact that one of his friends has been taken away and imprisoned as a dinosaur leader.
Yeah, right. And what better way to cope than to run into kids at a supermarket, say that you go into their party and say, I heard there's going to be unlimited high school pussy. Because that's one of Miles Teller's lines in the movie. I heard there's going to be unlimited high school pussy. Oh, man.
What an absolutely absurd movie.
Yeah,
in the
right.
best kind of way.
But where's Jeff Goldblum coming into this? Because he can't not be in it. Jeff Goldblum is at peak Jeff Goldblum career right now, and he's in the Jurassic Park world.
Shit. So like it's obvious that in the original Jurassic Park movies, right?
Mhm.
That him saying life finds a way is like him being that kind of madman with the billboard saying the end is nigh. He's actually talking about the fact that dinosaurs are going to take over in general, which people can probably believe because he knew that they were like working out how to escape and things like that. They were learning how to build highways, and they were learned in the way of schools and whatnot. But yeah, no, Jeff Goldblum knew all this, and obviously didn't come into fruition, and that's why he comes into the newest movie as I don't know what he's doing in next. I haven't seen the movie yet.
All I know is that he's in the trailer. He says, "Oh, it's not Jurassic Park anymore. This is Jurassic World," or something like that. Like something so dumb and cheesy.
Do you reckon he was like, I'm only doing the movie if I get another line like that. Just need something, man.
That's it. But we all know though, Jeff Goldblum has another part-time job on the side, and that is of the Grand Master over in Sakaar. You know, he moonlights over there because time works differently. So it seems like he's there all the time because time's way slower in Sakaar. But then when he comes to Earth, he can moonlight as his Jurassic dinosaur man expert. So he sees that there's a place for us all to escape to once the dinosaurs do take over. If Chris Pratt and J.K. Simmons and Hugh Jackman fail. So yeah, we can all get to Sakaar if we really need to, Ben.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm just glad we have this like backup in general. But there's also like another small side project that the old Jeff Goldblum has been working on, right? It's not Project X, it's actually Project C&D, right? And so we know that we've got the robots trying to learn to fight and things like that, and we know that we've got some of the smartest people in the world working on this issue. Yeah, correct?
Yep.
Well, what we didn't know is Jeff Goldblum himself is actually working on a serum to cure the world of all of their allergies to dogs so that we can employ the dogs to fight on the front line. And that's where the movie Cats and Dogs comes into it.
Yes!
And now with no one allergic to dogs, we can employ all of them to form a super army of attack dogs with lasers and shit.
Not only that, the dinosaurs feel like all animals are on their side because, you know, all animals can talk to each other, of course. All the leading scientists and billionaires are coming out with this, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that we're with the dogs and some cats, we have a sleeper agent on the inside with all the, what do you call them, C&Ds.
Yeah.
And while we have all the cats and dogs working on our side, Hugh Jackman's also working on the Real Steel program where he's starting to do some robot boxing. With,
So it makes sense why all these worlds come into all the robots and that. We're learning. We're teaching robots and animals to fight for us. Like,
that's it. And
obvious comparison.
It evolves so far that it culminates in the hit movie Pacific Rim. Our robots have come so far because obviously, like in Pacific Rim, they're boxing and stuff like that inside the robot. That's the exact same technology Hugh Jackman developed with Real Steel. We still haven't really put Deadpool in this much.
Nope.
So Deadpool decides that he's going to be one of the pilots for the, what are they called? Jaegers?
Yeah.
And then obviously all the dinosaurs have evolved to the point where they have locked down their own dimension. They're now coming out of that dimension as the, whatever those monsters were called. I didn't like Pacific Rim.
How could you not like Pacific Rim? It's literally, you go in knowing what you're going to be watching and you just watch robots fucking fight animals and shit.
I went in knowing that, not expecting a story, and I was still disappointed.
Aw, rip.
But yeah, so Real Steel, Chappie, Chris Pratt, and Deadpool are all fighting in their own little Jaegers, as well as Jeff Goldblum with a couple of the cats and dogs mixed in there. Was the main dog a beagle?
Yes.
Yeah, nice. So you've got a beagle controlling his own beagle Jaeger. So it's just a gigantic beagle taking on all these monsters.
Gypsy Beagle and the Beagle Jaeger.
That's it. How do you wrap this up? How does this fight end?
So you see that it all ultimately ties into... What does it all eventually tie into?
Planet of the Apes. I've never seen Planet of the Apes, but
no, if you haven't seen it, probably nah.
Okay.
Also, Pacific Rim actually makes sense because you got Idris Elba in Pacific Rim as well, who is also part of the Thor universe and Thor Ragnarok there as... I can't remember his name in that.
Holy fuck, it's escaping my...
Yeah.
That's really irritating me.
Yeah, he's someone I feel like I should know.
Me too. This is really annoying me. Fuck! I don't want to Google it, but...
He is... himself, Idris Elba.
That's Scotty from Star Trek because he always beams Thor up.
Fatty.
Beam me up, Scotty.
He's Heimdall.
Heimdall, yeah, that's the one. Anyway. So Idris Elba, obviously also being Heimdall.
And also the leader of the entire program of the Jaegers, right? It makes sense to have someone of that stature leading this program in the universe.
Yeah, that's right. So, Big Dog Idris, he's like, look, the dinosaurs are really winning this fight here. The dinosaurs are coming over the Earth. Humanity is fucked, but I also feel like humanity is super flawed, and I can make a big call here. I'm only going to beam up the dogs and leave the humans to be fucked. And Ben, that leaves us with the dog planet from Rick and Morty.
No, it leaves us with that TV show, the Dog Star. Was it? Shit. Wait. We can look this up just to make sure. Confirm. Dog Star. No, that's a real star. Hang on.
There's a star called the Dog Star.
There's one called the Dog Star. Here we are, Dog Star. That's it. It's an animated TV series where all of the dogs, after thousands of years of pollution and war on the planet with the robots and the dinosaurs, they get all of the dogs onto this one spaceship and they cruise through space trying to find a new planet.
That's it. And Heimdall, much like Odin in Thor Ragnarok, is saying, Earth isn't a place. It's where the dogs are.
Home is where the dogs are.
So, yeah, that's how it ends. And he happened to because, most movies end with a post-credit scene right now, Ben, especially ones involved with Marvel and stuff like that, in case you want to spin off more further movies. And this ends with we realize that there was one extra animal accidentally beamed up by Heimdall. In the cockpit of this ship, we see a little blue hamster with an eye patch.
Oh. And that's when our troubles really began.
Bounty hamster.
That's not the theme song, but we'll make it.
I don't remember the theme song. Yeah, we end with bounty hamster. That's our Banterfield theory.
That is dog trash. I love it.
Well,
These people take like ages to analyze these movies and draw comparisons, and then like one early morning after we fucked up our last one, we came out and pulled all these things together into the time when the dinosaurs rose up to fight everything.
for clarification, this wasn't rehearsed whatsoever.
You think anyone thought this was rehearsed?
When we recorded this segment yesterday, when we did the whole thing before we had the technical issues, we didn't have the movie generator or anything like that. We just decided we'd figure out how Basil Brush beat Thanos.
And I hate you for it still.
But this went a little bit better than trying to figure out how Basil Brush beats Thanos.
Fucking borderline.
But the Basil Brush v Thanos thing stretched out for like 40 minutes of pure shit. This is 20 minutes of pure shit. So we've saved you time. So be grateful, listeners.
No, definitely. But Bounty Hamster could win the war on his own.
I think so. He's pretty skilled in his bounty.
No, I see.
He's very small. He's a hamster. He can fit through the little gaps.
In what?
I don't know, the dinosaurs. He could get inside the dinosaurs and tear them up from the inside.
Correct. Like, that's the only way. We probably should have had it so we've seen all the movies to see what happens. I hope that at the end of the Jurassic World that it's obviously tied up and all the dinosaurs are like kept in check or something.
I don't know.
Debunks our theory completely.
Probably, yeah. I haven't seen Jurassic World 2 or whatever it's called. I haven't even seen all of Jurassic World. I've never been a big Jurassic Park fan, to be fair. They're not bad movies, I'm just not interested. But, yeah, we should probably call the episode there, I think, Ben.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea. We'll definitely set up a bit better for next episode.
Absolutely, and if the OBS looks a little bit different from what it did in the first half of the show, it's because it is different, because I fucked some things up and I'm still learning OBS. But in typical fashion of what we're carrying over from our last show, our outros are going to be improvised, where Ben gives us a scenario, or gives me a scenario, I should say, or us if there are other people on the show, and we just have to figure out a way to outro it, plug everything, while sticking within the parameters of Ben's scenario. So Ben, take us away.
All right, so what we've got this week for our first one of the Old Culture Yourself podcast, we've got you, Sam, and you're however many feet in the air. I don't know what a good feet in the air is for a plane, but you're up there, up on the plane, right? Mm-hmm. You're dressed head to toe in the outfit that they have for the flight attendants, and for some reason, you haven't gone over the safety check, but the safety check doesn't involve going through all of the safety precautions and things and that. In typical fashion of this airline, Air Bant, you have to go over where you can find the website and that, which is obviously like our podcast services and things of the sort for our channel, instead of going over everything else. And you need to do it while having that really calm, like kind of captain's or flight attendant voice that they tend to have. And as well, right near the end, something happens. There's back end of the plane falls off and everyone's screaming and terrified, but you're fine. You're completely calm and you're just trying to be like, and this is where it's fine. It's fine. This is fine. This happens all the time. You just got to try and play enough cool. And right at the end, you get sucked out of the plane and you need to say, thanks for watching.
All right. Sounds good. Alrighty. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your flight attendant today, Sam Nicholson, and I want to thank you for flying Air Bant. But before we land today, I would just like to say thank you for flying Air Bant. And you'll find on the right side of your seat, while the plane is crashing in the back half, it is coming off, that there are directions to subscribe to us on YouTube. You can find us there with 89 subs at the moment. We're very close to having that 100 sub mark with the custom URL. It might even just save your life if you do sub us there. We can get that custom URL.
I'm being sucked out of the back of the plane!
Mrs. Jensen, I am sorry that is happening. We'll be sure to alert your family of your demise, as well as make sure that your funeral comes promptly. And if we do find that hundreds, fuck's sake. Yes, if you do subscribe to us on YouTube, you know quite promptly whenever this podcast is up, as well as any of our other gaming videos or whatever else we do there. And if you find on the left side of your seat, you'll see directions to follow us on Twitch, of which we will always be posting this each and every Friday. Not live, it will be an edited version. However, that said, we will be in the chat to talk with you there.
Mummy, no!
Look, I'm sorry, Mrs. French, but your child was a bit of a shit anyway, and it's actually probably a bit of a blessing that he's gone.
I never. Proceeds to jump out of plane.
No huge loss, but you can also find us in each and every podcast service. If you'd like to listen to us before all of your timely demise, you can do so. It might be just the best thing that you've done in your life, and it will comfort you in your death. If you're listening to us on iTunes, please, we do need a review before you die. Each and every single one counts, whether it's a positive or a bad one. It really does help this show grow.
When are we landing? I've got to see my grandson.
I'm sorry, Grandma Story, but you'll never see your shit of a grandson, Ben, ever again. We are all about to die.
I don't know about you, but I don't plan on dying. Also jumps out of the plane.
We are many, many kilometers above the ocean at the moment. You are surely to die. It is a sure demise. But thank you, everyone, for flying Air Banter and listening to the very first episode of Culture Yourself. We hope that, with us starting at the bottom here, it will be a good rise in quality from here on out. I've been your host, Sam Nicholson, with my co-host this week, Ben Storia, and until next week, culture yourself. Goodbye! That was fucking
good.
shit.
That was brilliant. That's exactly what we want.